You know the vibes. Welcome back to another episode of the Hoop Genius podcast brought to you by NBA 2K25. It's myself, Mooncey, alongside me today, NBA trainer, Mr. Christopher Thomas. CT, how you living, bro?
I'm here, baby.
Hey,
Here
you
we
living
go.
good right now. I see the hoodie representing.
Hey, mile high.
CT, some people have been asking me, Mo, why you look so grizzly nowadays? Like your beard's not shaped up, your hair's growing out. What's going on? And I'd love to say it's the NBA playoffs, I'm busy grinding, but the fact of the matter is, I just can't trust the Clippers right now. I just can't trust the Clippers. And they
And that's
proved me
right.
right. And now I can go get a haircut in peace, in full faith to my barber. You'll see me on Monday's show looking fresh. Or Tuesday,
Hey,
Tuesday. I couldn't get an appointment for
Tuesday.
Monday. But but the Clippers once again proved that they are not to be trusted as they lost game 7 in devastating fashion, 120 to 101. But really, the game was it was a way bigger deficit when the game was over. The game was over before the fourth quarter even began. It was one of the most pathetic game 7 performances I've seen. It looked like they've already made their reservations in Cancun. They didn't want to win this game because how else do you explain what happened in Denver last
Look,
night?
I didn't think they sold whoop ass anymore, but apparently they do. That was a
They imported it from Serbia, I heard.
yeah, direct shipment, no tariff. My goodness, that got ugly in a good way for Denver, but it's unfortunate because Kawhi showed up and was competing or at least trying, and everybody else disappeared. It looked like so. That's how you get beat, and that's how you get made to look that bad. And the bad part, Jokic didn't have a great game again.
Bro, if you looked at the box score after this game, if I just told you that Jokic had 16 points on 14 shots, that Jamal Murray had 16 points on 15 shots, and you know, you would think that the Denver Nuggets were the team that got destroyed. However, they didn't need to put up those numbers because the entire team stepped up. They had what, 6 guys in double figures in this one. It was a pretty even game at the very start. Jokic had a really rough start for this game. He went 0 of 6 on his first 6 shots. The
Yeah,
shots were falling short. He looked a little bit tired, but then he snapped into gear. Speaking of looking tired, James Harden didn't show up. And, I tried to defend James Harden. He had 7 points on 8 shots in a game 7 where he played 35 minutes. The first quarter, I think he didn't even attempt a shot, or he just got one set of free throws. He looked real passive. The Nuggets actually did a good job in their game plan to make him a passer, running him off the 3-point line, forcing him to kick out to shooters by sending defenders to him. They did a good job at turning him into a passer. He finished with 13 assists. But if you want to be a superstar in the NBA, game 7 is where you step up and be a superstar in the NBA. Kawhi Leonard, 22 points. You know, again, 22 points from your best player is not going to be enough. The negative 33 that he finished with, I think, is the worst of his career so far. But, the Clippers were up after the first quarter. The second quarter was kind of good. But then, listen, it was a one possession game with 4 minutes left in the second quarter. With 8 minutes left in the third, Denver had a 25-point lead. They went on an insane run. What was it, like
oh,
a
yeah.
24-4 run at the start of the third
Oh my
quarter?
goodness.
And you're watching this happen. The Nuggets are bringing the intensity. The Nuggets are winning the 50-50 balls. They're making the effort plays. Russell Westbrook, once again, proving why we never turned our back on Russell Westbrook on this show. He finished with 16 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds, and 5 steals. He even dunked on the basket and hung on the rim so long that he got technical while he talked trash to the Clippers.
Yeah, that was the FU dunk. That
Yep.
was remember me, LA Clippers.
Yep.
Remember
You could
this?
replace me with Chris Dunn. All right, how about this?
Yeah, let's have it. Let's have it. Let's
But,
review.
so the Nuggets are up. The Nuggets are up 93 to 66 going into the fourth quarter, right? But it's not all over at that point because Nikola Jokic picked up his fifth foul. And one thing I noticed earlier in the game is that the Nuggets did a great job, I think, to start the second quarter in the non-Jokic minutes, which has been their
Yes,
biggest weakness since
yes.
the entirety of the Denver Nuggets have had Jokic being a superstar, right? However, they played really well without him, and that gave them the confidence that when he went to sit on the bench, because he had fouls, they just kept the ship sailing. They kept it rolling. And if you're the Clippers, you've got to think this is our chance. Jokic is in foul trouble. we can come out here. They're playing DeAndre Jordan, respectfully to DeAndre Jordan, in the year 2025. There was one possession where DeAndre Jordan dunked the ball and the Clippers called a timeout. And I thought if you told me this 10 years ago, that this is what would be happening in a game seven, I would have never believed you. Blake Griffin's retired.
Yeah,
Chris
yeah.
Paul ain't doing this in a game seven.
Cini is gone.
This
No,
is what I'm saying.
the difference tonight, like I stated, light skin gang showed up. Light skin gang showed up and showed out. Michael Porter, when he's hitting shots, the Nuggets are a different team. Aaron Gordon around that rim, they're a different team. And even Westbrook coming in with all that energy, when it's channeled and sincere, it's a different team. And they look different. They look like they're about to make a run at OKC.
Oh, I don't know about that. They get one day off before game one. I don't know about them.
But take that first hit and then get to it. I mean, that they got championship, DNA. They've been there. They've done this. They rely on that.
I've got a couple of things to ask your opinion on. With about 6 minutes left in the game, Tyronn Lue pulls his stars. Cool. If it's game 5 or game 6 and you're down by 30, pull your stars, rest them, get ready for the next game. Brother, your season ends today. Why are you pulling your stars out? Like, credit to the Clippers bench and like the end of the bench guys who came in, they actually cut the lead down so much so that the Nuggets had to put their stars back in the game. But I just thought it was so pathetic that your season ends. Like, why are you giving up? There is still time on the clock. We've seen last season the Nuggets give up a 20-point lead against the Minnesota Timberwolves in game 7. Jokic is in foul trouble. Why on earth are you waving a white flag so early?
That's the part where I think he knows his team. I think he knows James Harden is a quitter, is not a go-getter. When he decides to not play at his level, he's no good. I think he understands Zubac is a bad boy until he's outmatched. It wasn't that he was dominated tonight. He was handled tonight, though. So I would have left him in just to, burn it into them. Like, take all this loss.
Because you've not got many options for next season. You're going to have to run it back. So
yeah, exactly.
You need to feel this pain. You need to feel all 48 minutes of this pain. I know you sit on the bench and watch the other guys out there. No, hell no. The one thing that the Denver Nuggets did fantastically tonight was hit the glass. Jokic cleaning the glass, but it was also Aaron Gordon, Christian Brown, Russell Westbrook, even Peyton Watson getting hunting the offensive glass and getting those extra possessions. They did a fantastic job with that. And those kind of plays are what shows me who really wants to win. The loose balls, 50-50 balls, and the offensive rebounds, that's telling me who really wants to win this game. The Nuggets were up 22-10 in second chance points. They were getting out and running. They were even running off makes. Usually it's easy to get a fast break when the other team turns the ball over. But even when the Clippers were scoring, the Nuggets were still pushing the pace, getting out and running. That home cooking really fueled them. But it was just the lack of caring for me with the Clippers tonight that killed me. And here's what I think, right? You're the LA Clippers, and you're notorious for having this bad luck. They say the Clippers is cursed. However, this season, Kawhi Leonard is finally healthy for your playoff run. Right? James Harden, he's had no drama all season long. He's there. He's been doing his thing. He had a very good regular season, all-star caliber. Zubac had a contending most improved season. Norm Powell could have been an all-star this season. Chris Dunn, one of the best perimeter defenders this season. Everything's gone right for you this year. You get bounced in the first round. And not only do you get bounced in the first round, you put up the most pathetic ever that I don't want to say ever because I've seen some really bad game sevens. I remember what Luka did to them Phoenix boys, but you put up a horrible game 7 performance that was like you played it like it was a random game on a Tuesday night in Charlotte on League Pass.
Yeah, they're playing regular season ball tonight. For Kawhi to only have not to have 30, it shows you everything about they weren't really trying to win this. I think they were done with the season is what they look like. Remember the teams that were in the bubble?
Yeah.
It got to be past 60 days, and it just looked like, all right.
I've spoken to some of those players in the bubble, and Laker fans don't want to hear it, but there were a lot of players in the bubble who didn't want to play anymore. There were a lot of players in the bubble who were just like, look, I just want to, the rest of the world is at home playing PlayStation all day with their families around them. I want to do the same. Why the hell am I in Disneyland? But where did the Clippers go from here, though? What are you actually going to do if you're the LA Clippers?
They don't have much wiggle room. I mean, Steve Ballmer's got to fly fans around to make them
Look,
feel good in away
that
gyms.
flight home, oh, that's going to be horrible. He flew out hundreds of Clipper fans to be in Denver for tonight's game. That flight home is going to be brutal for all of those fans. That's who I feel bad for,
Yeah,
because at least if
tough.
your team had made an effort, you've given it your best shot. They must be embarrassed.
Well, that's their most rabid fans, right?
Yeah.
Nothing, absolutely nothing to cheer about the entire second half. So you're pretty much on the streets of downtown Denver, finding you some fun.
Good luck to them, because I hope the trip is worthwhile. Because
Yeah,
that
tough.
man, like and the thing is, in the first half, the game was so winnable.
Hmm.
Like so many things happened, and I was like, the Clippers are going to steal this one, because like there was a possession, and this one thing that really irritated. This is like a really nerd rant that I'm going to go on here, but like the coach's challenge, you get two of them in a game. Even if you win one, you still only have one remaining, right? The Nuggets challenged an out of bounds call in the first half of the game. And my philosophy is this: I'm only using my challenge if it's late in the game and the possession can sway the game, right? So the out of bounds, you can challenge an out of bounds if it's like a close game down the stretch and we get the ball back, cool. Or if it's correlating to points on the board. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah,
if we go to the lane and Jokic blocks a shot and whatever, and you think it's a foul, cool, challenge that, because you get him in foul trouble and you get the free throws, 2 points added to the scoreboard. But they just challenged that, and I was looking at it like, you're lucky you're playing against the Clippers tonight, because mistakes like that
yeah.
against OKC, you ain't gonna be able to survive them.
Well, I think they were not trying to give the Clippers anything. Even that little possession was like, nope, take that all back. You're not getting none of that. Some of that is too for such a young coach to show his players, yeah, I got you back. I'm gonna do it.
And Russell Westbrook even told him not to challenge that one, and he still did it
He
anyway.
did, but he was the
Um,
only one on the floor saying no, no, no.
But what I want to give them the credit for is this game was the best, well, the best I've seen the Nuggets play defense in probably about 2 years since they won the championship. I don't think I've seen everyone connected together on a string together. I don't think I've seen them play defensively that well since they won the championship.
In a minute. But their last 3 weeks, they've been putting it together and putting it together. And these last 3 games, you've seen pieces of championship Denver. And here we go. This might be the next best series of all NBA time.
Mm.
OKC is real. Denver's got their mojo back. Here we go. Game one coming.
It's also crazy. They fired their head coach with like a week to go in the season. Come on, Clippers. Come on, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
come on. I'm just so disappointed. I'm just so disappointed. Like, I'm not even a Clipper fan, and I'm just disappointed at this team just because of what they showed. But you know what's really interesting, right? Is they now go through to face the Thunder. The matchups in the East are set: the Cavs, Pacers, Knicks, and Celtics. And then we're waiting for tomorrow or tonight for the Rockets and Warriors to go through, right?
Mm.
And they'll face the Timberwolves. This is in the final 8 teams. 7 of the 8 teams are the same as last year. The only difference is there's no Dallas this year, and it's going to be replaced by Golden State or the Houston Rockets. So let's talk about one of the series that's going to start tomorrow or tonight if you're in the UK. The Cavs and the Pacers, game one. What do you think about this matchup? Because there are a few things here that intrigue me, but what are your initial thoughts?
The Cavs are a better team. Indy has no fear of the Cavs. So they're going to play them pretty tough. Uh, it just depends on the matchups. And it depends on if Indy's hitting shots, really, because they're going to try to pick up the pace. But you can't with the Cavs because
They can play with
they
the pace too.
they run up and down with the best of them,
Mhm.
and they hit shots with the best of them. So this will get interesting to see if defense is part of Indy's theme at all
Or if they're
because they're
just
going to
going to
need it.
outgun them.
Yeah, they're gonna need it because they can't outgun. They can, but they can't outgun them. The
So
Cavs have a lot of shooters.
strategically, right? You think about this series, you look at what Fred's been doing in the last few games for Houston, and you think if Pascal can turn it up to championship level basketball that he played in Toronto, and he can outplay Evan Mobley, who's still a young player in this league, right? That's an interesting matchup to watch. The matchup with Evan Turner and Evan Turner. Nah, that's crazy. Miles Turner. Shout out to
Okay.
Evan Turner, man. His little
In a minute.
podcast
Yeah.
and what he does. Miles Turner and Jarrett Allen. If you can start hitting shots, if you're Miles Turner, you take Jarrett Allen out of the paint,
Mm.
moving that shot blocking presence for the Cavaliers. You've got obviously the matchup at the point guard position, Halliburton and Garland, two young guys that have both been all stars in this league. Halliburton had a really slow start to the season, but now he's proven himself in the playoffs. And then Nemhard, who is obviously not in the same category as Donovan Mitchell, but Nemhard raises his game in the playoffs.
He's
He plays
tough.
hard.
He's tough. He's tough. He's a good player. He's the right type of defender to be a problem with Donovan. He won't stop him. He'll make it harder on him, though.
Yeah, get under his
But
skin a little bit.
I think Donovan is more mature, and that's why the Cavs are so much better. Is he's not score 40, prove I'm the man guy. He's let me score 20 and we win, guys, and
Hmm.
we keep this moving, guy. And I think he knows this might be one of his last opportunities to get to a finals, play for something real.
Especially with how good their regular season was. I think the X factor here could be Neesmith, because the Cavs they traded for DeAndre Hunter, they have Isaac Okoro, they have Max Strus, they have a lot of different guys that play in that kind of fifth starter spot. Neesmith is, he's shown he's tough in the playoffs. In last season's run, he showed that he's pretty
Yeah,
tough.
yeah.
But it's going to be interesting. Which team are you picking and in how many games?
Even though I live in Indy, the Cavs, I've been watching them all season enough. They're real. Their bench can get it done. They can switch up lineups, go small, go triple big, go outside in, go inside out. They're tough,
And how many
and they're
games?
go five,
Five.
five. I think the Pacers just don't have enough defense, to be honest. Uh, I don't think their bench is reliable. And then Halliburton, as good as he's been, he's high tide, low tide.
Mm.
He might disappear for a couple games.
BJ and I picked the Cavs in 7 with this one because I
Mm,
think Indy can just hold home court.
mm.
They can just hold home court. We've got to see.
We'll see.
We
We'll
have to see.
see.
But what's more exciting than that game is game 7 of the Golden State Warriors and the Houston Rockets.
Come on.
Let's first of all hope for a closer game 7. Last night we were joking about, watch, I bet this game, even though it's an early finish, I bet it's going to take for it. It was the opposite. There was no challenges. There was no reviews. There was nothing going on. They were out of there early. Let's hope the Golden State and Houston game is a little bit closer tomorrow.
I think not. I think
Really?
Draymond comes with the antics, yucks the game up for the refs to get review this, review for a flagrant, review this call.
And the refs ain't trying to reject Draymond in a game 7. Ain't trying to do that.
you would think, but maybe teach him a lesson again. But I just think this game is interesting. It is going to come down to who can hit the last shots, and the possessions are key. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited.
I think the Rockets have got to get their work done early because you don't want to be in a close game with Stephen Curry on the other side of the basketball.
Guaranteed.
You've got to get your work done early. See what the Denver Nuggets did tonight. Take that third quarter, finish the game in the third quarter. You've got to try to do something like that because with Stephen Curry and with Jimmy Butler there, you don't want to see that. Is there any counter that the Warriors might have for Steven Adams and the havoc he's wreaking on this series?
Looney, Kamunga, try to play him out, pull him out of the middle. Steve Kerr's got to, excuse me, he's got to find a way to counter him just staying in the lane, staying in the middle.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen him protect the bucket at this level. The way he's been blocking shots. Steven Adams, obviously, he's been a very solid defender, but at this level, the way Ime Udoka's using him in this defense, he's risen to a whole nother level. So
yes, all the difference.
Who are you picking though for this game 7?
Rockets.
Oh, we're going with Houston, huh?
Freddie.
Houston.
I believe in my guys. Like steady Freddie. FBV he's been the difference. They don't need Jalen Green to do a lot. Just do something. Do something more. And everybody, yeah, that's it.
Just
don't be a negative.
One thing that really annoys me about Houston is the amount of possessions where the Warriors get away with switching on Şengün. And all right, cool. Buddy Hield's guarding Jalen Green. Şengün's guarding, Draymond's guarding Şengün. Şengün comes and sets the screen. The Warriors will switch, right? Şengün goes down to the block. Buddy Hield is guarding him. And then we have to sit there for 20 seconds and watch Jalen Green dribble into traffic and miss a layup. It
Yep.
irritates me beyond belief. Or other possessions where, the Warriors went to a zone and Draymond did a great job of pinning the defender in the corner so that there's a wide open corner three, but they just don't see that. I think it was Thompson who had the ball in that particular instance. But unless Fred VanVleet's got the ball in his hands, the decision making from the other guards on the roster needs to be way sharper because there's so many times they're leaving points on the board that would actually be easy buckets. If they can clean that up, then the Warriors could be in serious trouble because as good as
Yeah.
Houston's played in the last two games on the defensive side, I don't think the offense has been fantastic. I think that they can still improve on
No,
that.
no. They got better offense, but all season their half court offense has been the bottom of the league. So it's gonna come from Thompson being an energizer on the offensive side, running the floor, and then his defense. It's gonna
It's,
come. Tari Eason has been a difference maker at times in the series.
mhm.
It's those two, though. Those athletes at that position, those positions, are going to make the difference because Draymond can't run with them anymore.
Yeah.
So he's just
He'll just
the
try to
best he
trip them
can
up.
do is be physical, get in their head a little bit. But I think they've seen, and I think the good thing about a Jeff Green on the bench and a Fred VanVleet on the floor is let him do his thing.
Mm,
Take a couple cheap jabs and shots. We'll get it back. We'll
mm.
get the lick back. Don't worry about it.
You know what's really, really a key area of focus for the Houston Rockets is the difference in the game can actually be the free throws. On the series, they're shooting below 70% as a team from the free throw line. They're giving away buckets. They've given away games off their free throw shooting. They've got to focus on that. But it's crazy because the Warriors are actually leading the series in fast break points and in second chance points, which is something that you would not have expected when this began. Because you would have thought that would have been, for the Houston Rockets, who are great at offensive rebounding and great at defense, you would have thought that would have been their forte. So it's going to be interesting to see what Steve Kerr has up his sleeve and the game plan for this. You're going with Houston. I'm gonna go with the chef because he's until he's beaten, I can't count him out. It's as simple as that. Ask anyone who lives in France or anyone who lives in Serbia about Steph Curry and high pressure games when the games get close.
Oh, he's world renowned. Like I do think, to Houston's credit, the way they played Steph Curry in the first three games, hugging him off the ball, pushing him around, is running around, is putting wear and tear on him.
Mm.
I mean, he still runs around.
He's still shooting like 40%.
He's still gonna do.
Points.
He's still gonna do what he does. It's just you can see some body language, some frustration, some oh my god type of attitude now, which it may or may not, probably won't factor into him doing the Curry flurry, 15 points in 3 seconds at some point.
Yep.
That's gonna happen. He does show up. Let's see who else for them. Yep. Who else is gonna show up for them tomorrow? Though I mean, or tonight, I should say. But it'll be interesting. I just want a good game. I got popcorn on deck.
And you should think that the refs let them be a little bit more physical in a game 7, that they won't be constantly blowing the whistle. So it should be a good one. We'll be here to break it down for you after the game. Man, I'm excited. I thought we were only getting one game 7, and Houston have managed to bring this back from 3-1. If the Warriors lose this 3-1 lead in the first round, that's kind of crazy. That's going to lead to primetime topics for all the daytime sports talk shows.
Guaranteed.
But we'll be here breaking down the basketball for the real fans. So until tomorrow, make sure you guys subscribe. YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast from. CT, appreciate you as always, my brother. We'll be back tomorrow with more from the Hoop Genius podcast. Until next time, get buckets.